everyone, this is Elizabeth from Simple Simon and Company, and today we're going to be talking about working on how to do a perfect buttonhole. And I'm going to show you two different ways on two different machines that I have. Hopefully you can relate to one of them. If not, at least it should give you some idea of what you're doing, and then you can bust out your sewing machine manual and figure out your exact machine and how it works. On this first machine that I'm going to talk about, which is a Bernina, I'm going to use my buttonhole foot, which is 3A on my machine. And if you'll notice, it might be a little bit hard to see, but I've got a red line here at the number 0, and I've got a 3 down at the very end. And then I've got a red slider right here. So here, those are the most important things that you're going to need to know at the beginning. Before you put your foot on, you're going to need to measure your button. And I'm going to put my button, whoa, just had a collapse. Let's start that again. So you need to put your button right up here on the 0. And then you're going to hold it with one finger, and then you're going to measure where your buttonhole is going to end. I make a lot of children's clothing, and I tend to make my buttonholes a little tiny bit bigger just for little hands so that they can get them in there a little bit easier. So I tend to go, if you're going to err on the big side rather than the small side of a button. Okay, we're ready to go. So I'm going to stick my buttonhole foot in here. I just need to put it on the shank, pull my lever down so it's ready to go. And then my buttonhole thing, the other thing I like to do is I like to push this thread in here underneath the buttonhole foot. Watch, I'm not going to be able to do it very well because I'm trying to show you all how I do it. But I just like to slip it under there, and then it doesn't tend to get caught in fabric as much because you're going to sew. It sometimes will pull back on you, but just keep it out of the way of your buttonhole. So I'm going to pull my presser foot back. The other thing, you need to decide which seam guideline you want. Sometimes your buttons are marked on your patterns. You could use those as a guide, but if you're making up your own pattern, use one of these seam guidelines, and then all of your buttons will be done on the same one. If I'm doing just a simple bodice, I tend to do them pretty close to the edge, so I line up my fabric right here with this buttonhole, side of the buttonhole foot. Put your buttonhole number on your machine. Mine's a number 10, which is simple. There's like 4 or 5 different choices. I tend to go really simple, so I'm just going to go on the number 10 to show you today. And then the only thing I need to do is I need to watch this red line until it gets to this red slider. When it gets to that red slider, I need to stop. So my machine's going to do all the work. And I didn't get that thread under there very well. You're going to get your thread under the needle part a little bit better than I did, so it's not going to get stuck in there. You're going to watch until your red slide goes to your red line. When it gets there, you're going to stop. On my machine, then all I have to do is push the back button and start sewing again, start pushing on the presser foot. And my machine knows exactly, okay, that's how long she needs her button. Here, we're going to go again. And then I'm going to speed up a little bit, so it's going a little faster. Notice I'm not pushing the fabric through at all. The machine is doing all of the work. Sometimes people want to help it along and think it's not going fast enough, but it knows when it needs to go, and it will stop when it's done. Then all you need to do is pull up your presser foot, pull it out, and trim your tailings. Okay, I've turned the camera for you so that you can see it. If you'll see on my machine, this computerized portion right here is flashing auto. It wasn't doing that before. It was just telling me that I was making a buttonhole. But since I've made one buttonhole, my machine now knows what size that I want. So if I'm going to sew my next buttonhole, I don't have to do anything else. All I have to do is just line up my fabric the exact same way I did last time, put the presser foot down, push the machine pedal, and I'm off and going again because it knows how to make the exact same size. If you are doing different size buttons and you need to clear it, you're just going to find, I'm going to pan right over here for a second. You're going to find a button on this particular machine that says CLR. So if I don't want to do that buttonhole anymore, I'm just going to push CLR, and then it goes back to that flashing. So it's going to tell me that I need to measure that left-hand side, and then it will figure out how to do it. Anyway. anyway, that's how to do a buttonhole on my Bernina. And then in the next video, I'm going to show you how to do a buttonhole on my other machine, which was a Brother. So you might be able to follow either one of these videos. Okay, see you in a minute.